What a great night last night, bro.
It really was.
Should be like a really, really, really good type of deal. You know what I mean? Today
Yeah.
should be even better. For real, for real.
Well, there's more games to pick from.
Well, that helps, right? It's always
Way
better
more
when you
games to
have
pick from.
volume. People keep talking about how they traded Luca because he's fat. Sounds almost like as American as it gets.
Doesn't it though?
It really does, right? It's kind of crazy. Like,
Yeah.
got fired because you're fat? What? But we're not talking about the pros. We talk about the players that are kids. All right. Welcome back, everybody. It is another day for another dollar here at College Hoops RX. It is your boy SosaPicks, joined by my cohort, my partner in crime, SpinDocSports. Spin, happy Tuesday. How we feeling today?
Feeling great. Coming off a 2-0 sweep on free plays yesterday, and yeah, it was a good night. Good night all around. Suns varsity team got a very, very convincing win. I know I was kind of texting you the score. Never in doubt there. So always nice to get an easy dub. But yeah, we'll get into it when we talk about Monday. I mean, not a whole lot of stuff to really glean from last night, except for one game, which I know we'll talk about in a second with Kansas and Iowa State. But you know my philosophy, and everybody watching should too, is that don't matter what happened yesterday, we're 0-0 today. So the key is to have mini sweeps every single day. So I don't get too into last 10 or over the last 12 or when the temperature is 36 degrees or higher, like breaking it down like that. Every day we're 0-0. So every day the goal is to go
Hey,
whatever.
Give me one quick second. One quick second. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So yeah. So all right. So just a Monday review for everybody. Not a whole lot to talk about from last night. The only thing to talk about really is the big thing was Kansas and Iowa State. Iowa State's just in bad form right now. The Caleb Love shot may be impacting them more than they care to admit. They have had some just absolutely hideous offensive performances since that game, or actually, since that shot, and it came into play fully last night. In fact, Iowa State just 41.9% effective field goal percentage in their last three games, and really. You can talk about the Caleb Love shot and how it led to overtime, which cost them the game. But if you watch that game in its entirety, their defense was fine. Their offense just looked clunky. A lot of missed shots, a lot of bad shots actually. A lot of one-on-one ball, which I'm not used to seeing from Iowa State. I saw that last night as well, and as Kansas started to pull away, you saw Iowa State just I don't want to say panic, but just really force things, really try to force things to like get back into the game, and that's just not really how they're built. Curtis Jones pains me to say because he's a Minnesota boy, and I love my Minnesota kids playing major D1. Just really struggling from the field. Had another ugly game last night. He's only shooting like about 30% in his last three games. So, this Iowa State team, I still, we talked about it before about how they are legit. And I do believe talent-wise they are legit. But losing 3 out of 5 with your only 2 wins against a weak Central Florida and Arizona State team, whenever since they beat Kansas at home, ever since they've played teams of any high metric rating, they've lost. And so they got 4 days to get ready. They got a home one against TCU. It's a very winnable game. And I think that, kind of this next stretch, they have a chance to really get themselves right, because they got TCU, they got Central Florida again. They have Cincinnati, which is still a winnable game. Colorado, I mean, 4 winnable games in a row before they get Arizona again, and they get Houston. So, they really have to get themselves right. Kansas looked good. Zeke Mayo played well, man.
Typical time of year for Kansas to get rolling. This is what they do. And I gotta say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
About as impressive as a win as you're gonna get.
It was
last night. I mean, that to me was, it's a top 3 or 4 win this season, bro. Just, I mean, a wire to wire finish against a top 5 team.
Yep.
Outrageous.
And I got to give it up for Zeke Mayo. Part of the reason why I gave the under, which hit by a mile, was Zeke Mayo had been struggling with shooting. He didn't struggle last night. 5 of 6 from deep, 17 points, 8 rebounds, just an all-around game. One of my favorite plays for the game was towards the end, where he crossed over. He crossed over one defender on the perimeter. Then another guy came to help. Then he kind of ducked in and ducked back and froze that guy, then stepped back and was by himself, and then kind of just like looked at both of them like, watch this. And then bam, just right from the top of the key. It was impressive.
You cannot fuck with me.
It was impressive. It was impressive. So overall, I think Iowa State will be fine. Every team, even the top ones, go through a little stretch like this. They play in a brutal conference, and they've lost. They lost a winnable game. They lost a game last night that they should have lost. It was probably more concerning is how they lost, with only putting up 50-some points. But anyways, we'll see what they do against TCU. We'll see what they do against UCF, and I would expect them to win both games. But the key is not necessarily do they win. The key is, do they win convincingly, and do they look good? Because shooting 41% effective field goal percentage isn't going to beat anybody. It might scratch out a few wins here and there, but it's not going to win you anything even close in the postseason. So congrats to Kansas, congrats to Coach Self, and congrats to us, because we hit the under. Like, that under was never in doubt ever. I think the highest I ever saw it get after about the 10-minute mark was like 133 and a half, and we got it at 144 and a half. So that said, on to today.
Let's get it, man. We got a huge slate today. A lot of big games, a lot of small conference, big conference games. So we'll just hop around really quickly. First game on the docket is LaSalle at VCU, 7 p.m. start. We got VCU laying 19 in a conference game with a total of 144 and a half. 19 and a half for a is that correct? Is that the right number?
19 is. Yep.
Okay. So, 19 is quite a number for a conference game, as we all know. Where are we going with this one? I ain't gonna lie. I when I saw this, I was like, wow. I'm interested in what you're thinking.
Oh, this has got to be a dog spot for me, even on the road. Even though VCU is 10-2 lifetime against LaSalle and has won pretty much every game for a long time, actually since 2015. Very, very few of them. In fact, I think only one since 2018 has been by this many. This is just like you said, this is a conference game. These are 2 conference rivals. This is just a shit ton of points. And quite honestly, given the situation, it's probably a few too many. So look, VCU, they make their hay on defense, same as they did under Shaka, same as they've done for a while. So 22nd overall in defensive efficiency, very, very low effective field goal percentage, high turnovers, very, very similar format. But I have a few problems with the Rams covering this large of a number. First and foremost is they don't 60% or 36.5% of their points and 47.4% of their shots are from deep. And so that's good, as you can see, for 60th and 26th in the country. The problem is they're only at 32.9% shooting. The one thing that LaSalle has done pretty consistently all year is defend the three. They are top one, they're 103rd here, 32.1, but they also are almost as good on the road. So they've had a decent little stretch here. They've beaten Rhode Island. They beat George Washington. Granted, those two were at home. Lost to Fordham. So a nice little 2-1 stretch. Now, VCU is on a roll. I won't pretend to even like hide that. The Rams, except for a loss to St. Louis, they have won 7 of their last 8. They are coming off an absolute smacking of Richmond. A little bit of a different scenario here against LaSalle. Richmond's 3-point defense nowhere near as good. And you also have a Richmond team that when they beat the hell out of them, they forced a massive amount of turnovers, 15 turnovers for the Spiders in that game. You see here with LaSalle, only a 15.4% turnover percentage, 44th in the country. So what they don't do offensively, as you can see, they have some pretty ugly shooting numbers. They make up for it by taking care of the basketball. And with VCU, they do get a healthy percent of their points off of those turnovers. So if you're not going to get turnovers, if you're going to take care of the ball, and again, you have a LaSalle team that is not playing terrible. Like I said, they've won 2 of their last 3, and even on the road, their shooting is not the greatest, but it's certainly not bottom of the barrel either. So when I look at this game, I look for a team to cover that many points in a conference game, especially with the history where, yes, VCU has won pretty much all of them, but they've kept it within single digits the majority of the time. And I just don't know if VCU can find enough 3-pointers here against a LaSalle defense, again, that is top 100 in defending the 3. The other thing with LaSalle here is that over their last 3, they're still allowing under 34% from deep. They actually in their last game, they allowed just 31%. They're not allowing teams to even shoot that many 3-pointers. So I'm just not sure that VCU is going to find enough opportunities here to cover this spread, or even if they do, you get a situation where you can potentially get a backdoor cover. So 19 points is just too many for me, given the history and given VCU's sometimes struggles from deep shooting the ball. The other thing that we have here is the VCU. Now, while LaSalle doesn't get to the line a ton, VCU does foul a lot, 264th in defensive free throws attempted over field goals attempted, and they also allow their opponents to shoot almost 20 free throws a game. So you give me those things together and a 19-point spread, and a team that takes care of the ball like LaSalle, it's just too many. So first free play is LaSalle plus 19. Don't be surprised if at one point in this game, LaSalle might be down by 20, maybe like in the low 20s, but 19 for a whole game is just too many for me. Especially when you have a VCU team that goes to Dayton for a game that could end up determining or help end up determining the 1 seed in the conference at the end of the year. So in the conference tournament,
expect some interesting things when a team's favored by 20 points, right? They're clearly the better team. So we're on to the next one. The next,
yeah. I was just going to answer. Goose here. St. John's the best team in the Big East. Talent-wise, yeah. I mean, probably.
Rick got him rolling immediately, man. Rick got him rolling, man. I fucking love that guy.
I get concerned. With the shit they pulled against Providence. I get concerned. So hopefully that was a wake-up call, and Patino let him know that you can't be lackadaisical. You can't play not to lose like that, because eventually that's going to cost them. But as far as if you're talking about like pure talent, they're deep. They have tons of depth. Yeah, I agree. I agree with this one. I mean, they're not the best shooting team, but they do have a few guys that can stroke it. So,
Hold
I, I wouldn't take them in a 3-point shooting contest against a lot of teams, but they do have multiple guys like with Smith and et cetera that can knock down the three.
Hey, yo. For sure. I totally agree.
So,
All right.
next one.
Yes, next one. We got which you got it on the banner one. You got it on the thing.
I'm going.
It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, we got Wichita State traveling to UNC Charlotte. That's a pretty big travel spot. That's a lot of travel for like a random Tuesday.
Yeah.
Wichita State to Charlotte. We got Wichita State laying 2.5 on the road with an over-under of 144.5. Usually a good spot for a home dog, but I don't know where you're headed with this one. But I think you should tell us because
to the total.
It's another one. I saw it on the list and I was like, this is spin and this he knows where to find the money.
This I'm headed to the total for this one. This is too many points for these two teams. Number of reasons why. First and foremost is you see the effective field goal percentage here, 299th, 241st. 3-point is both sub 300. You also have a Charlotte team that defends the three exceptionally well, only allowing 30.2% for the season. They've been especially good on their home floor. Actually in their last three, they've allowed teams to shoot just 27% from three. So, my formula, if you follow me for the totals, is that pace, 3-pointers, and free throws. So you got 3-pointers covered here because you got both teams that are sub 300 in shooting, even though Wichita State hasn't defended it very well. Look, I've watched the Charlotte team 3 or 4 times. And they just have very, very few guys that can stroke the three. Very, very few guys that can make it with any consistency. Overall pace, I lean towards Charlotte's pace for this one. Charlotte's the 296th pace. Wichita State's top 75. However, Charlotte does tend to dictate the pace at home. And you look at some of the offensive outputs for these teams recently, and especially for Wichita State, and for playing as fast as they do. I mean, they only put up 54 against North Texas. You can forgive that a little bit because of how good their defense is. But Charlotte's defense specifically against the three can be good too. You have a Memphis team where they only scored 53. You have East Carolina where they put up 72 at home, and East Carolina's defense is just horrendous. We're way worse than Charlotte's. So you have that part for me covered. Then you go to free throws. And the one thing that Charlotte does well offensively, and I give them credit because they run a lot of over-the-top dribble action that is designed to get their guards to the rim. You see down here, they do have some bigger guards, 6'4", 6'5". Nick Graves, 6'3", still pretty stocky frame. But they get to the line, 46.2%, fifth in the country. But the one thing Wichita State doesn't do is they don't foul. They play a pretty solid defense from that regard, and only allowing opponents to shoot 16.6 free throws per game, which is 56 in the country. Last three, even better, 14.7 free throws per game, which would be 12th overall in the nation. And so I look at this from the standpoint of I have nearly every single box checked. And so when I have nearly every single box checked, the only thing that this doesn't really check is that you see Wichita State does have some warts in allowing shooting, but this is where the eye test comes into play because I've watched Charlotte, again, a number of times. They just don't have anybody that can hit the three with regularity. One rotation player over the 35.7 here. And you see their main rotation players with Graves and Rosado, 31 and 29.6. So if you're not going to shoot the three very well, if you have Wichita State who can prevent a team from getting to the line, and you have Charlotte who can defend the three, that's more than enough for me. So the total for this one is where I'm going, under 144.5 for Wichita State and for Charlotte.
All right. The next game we're going to get into, I think we both have plays in this one.
We do indeed.
We do indeed. All right. First and foremost, Oklahoma State basketball needs to be put in rice. They stink. They're a borderline 500 team. They're one of the worst teams in the Big 12 as far as I'm concerned. The talent at the school is just not there. You got Houston in a situation where it's important for them to get this win. Houston at home laying 22 points against a terrible team with an over-under of 132.5. It takes me to one play and one play only. That is the Houston Cougars first half team total over 36.5. You're getting it in. You're going to get it at one. It's at minus 128. Shop around, see if you can get a better price. I would, if you don't want juice, take the 37.5. I think that this is a game where they get around 40. At home, they're a different beast scoring the basketball. In conference, perfect setting against a team that should offer no resistance, whether it be from the three-point line or at the rim. I like for Houston to score 40 points easily in the first half against Oklahoma State today. So that is my first play of the day. It is, again, the Oklahoma State Cowboys first half team total over 36.5 or 37.5.
Houston, right? Houston,
the Houston Cougars. What did I just say?
You said Oklahoma State.
I'm tripping. Houston Cougars, the Houston Cougars team total against Oklahoma State. Like I said, 36.5, 37.5, doesn't matter. I like them to get close to 40 plus against this team. And what are you liking?
Oh, Houston easily. Don't mind the team total at all. But mine, Houston first half minus 13.5. And just to add on to what you were saying, I agree with everything you just said about Oklahoma State. What's really poor is their defense. You can see here 342nd in effective field goal percentage defense. That actually somehow gets worse at home.
They're awful.
So here are some of the teams that have worse effective, just as quick sample, defenses for effective field goal percentage. Maryland Eastern Shore, Wisconsin Green Bay was won like 4 games all year. IU Indy, Prairie View A&M, Coppin State, Mississippi Valley. You see where I'm going with this, is that it is just absolutely awful. What you also have is you have a Houston team that is coming off I don't want to say a bad loss because it was against a good team. It was against Tech, but loss in overtime, had multiple chances to win. And one thing about Kelvin Sampson teams, especially during the regular season, is when they have a game like that, they do tend to respond. So I never try to cap and go into like motivations and like think like, well, they're going to be fired up for this one. I'm not in their locker room. I have no idea. However, if you read some of the post-game comments and you read some of the things that were said about like practice and stuff leading up to this game, is that it seems like they got a salty taste in their mouth. And the way to rinse that out is you take a dog to the woodshed. You take a team, an undersized, undermanned, just under everything team, and you just take them and you just kick the shit out of them and make the game over right off the bat in front of your home crowd. That's how you do it. And even in that game against Tech, it's not like Houston played bad. This is a much different situation than the Iowa State one that we talked about, where they were the cause of their own undoing. Iowa State, in a lot of regards, over the last few games, has beaten themselves. They've played good teams and who have played well, but they've beaten themselves. Texas Tech just went out and just took that one from Houston. They just ripped it away and said, no, this is our game. And that doesn't happen very often to a Houston team. So, but aside from all of that, Houston's offense just way, way too efficient here for Oklahoma State, especially from deep, 5th overall. Oklahoma State has had all kinds of problems defending the three. They've actually had a ton of problems defending on the interior, and that's not what you want when you're facing Houston, because 52% of their points do come from inside the arc. Not only that, but on their home floor, they are shooting a very, very high percentage, last 3 as well, from inside the arc. They have multiple guys that can bomb. So I wouldn't overthink this. It would not surprise me at all if the full game spread is a massive number and just screams potential backdoor cover, which is why I limited it to the first half. But it wouldn't surprise me if Houston's up by 20 at halftime easily. So if you're going to play this one, I strongly encourage you to play it pregame, because chances are that if Houston just comes out like guns a-blazing, which is very, very possible. And quite honestly, what I'm expecting is that that 13 and a half, anywhere in that range, you ain't never going to see that one again. So Houston, first half, minus 13 and a half. It's on FanDuel right now. I think some places have it at 13, some places have it at 12. But really, both of us, I think, are just saying that Houston's just going to come and just kick the shit out of an inferior team.
A double investment on the same team in the same half. This is going to be very fun. This is going to be very fun to watch. So we got
a question from Mo.
Yeah, no, I'm going to run through the chat right now. First and foremost, shout out to my guy Logan. He's from the 412. Solid young kid. He's really good with these college games. I talk to him regularly, so that's Logan. Shout out to him. He said, "New day, new money." You already know, my brother. Every day is a new opportunity. He said he likes Marquette +3 tonight, Michigan State +3.5, and he likes Ole Miss -4. Those are his 3 plays. Appreciate you dropping them in the chat. If they're winners, obviously we'll be happy to recap them tomorrow. We saw Goose. Shout out to Goose, man. Shout out to my Jersey boy. Mom Who Bets, appreciate you tuning in. Mo Harris, appreciate you as well. Shooting wise, no. You're there. This is the back and forth between him and Logan has been actually pretty chat. You want to bet? I think that's why we're here. He said meet you back here tomorrow. No problem, sweetheart. That's an interesting take on Oklahoma State. That depending on who you ask, they may agree. Do I like Kentucky today? I'm going to stay away from them. My theory is with Kentucky, I think that they might fall into some doldrums right here where they kind of struggle to get some wins here. I think after what we saw on Saturday, I won't say they're easy to defend, but I think that as the season progresses, it's their margin for error is becoming less and less. And then you saw it kind of unfold on Saturday where they got handled at the crib. So I'm interested to see how they bounce back after losing a game in which the expectations went from, oh, this is a cute story, to they're 13-point favorites to getting the shit beat out of them outright on their home floor. So not too many thoughts in regards to Kentucky. I'm too scared to jump back on the bandwagon immediately.
I'm not playing it, but it's hard. I'll just say this. It's hard for me to back Kentucky against a team of this caliber without Lamont Butler. He's confirmed already to be out. Carr only played 15 minutes last game. I'm not sure how many minutes he's going to get tonight. And if both of these teams were at full strength, I probably would roll with the Cats, even though I love Ole Miss coach. Love Mr. Beard, but
legendary.
It's hard for me to back them on the road against a team like this, against a team of this caliber, with a coach of this caliber, without Lamont Butler. They have really, really felt his loss. So, but overall, from a betting perspective, I am personally probably not going to put a single dollar on that game.
Fair enough.
Right.
Last game we're going to get into. I don't know what you think about this. We spoke pretty, in depth about Texas Tech yesterday. They had an absolutely great weekend. They've had a great season thus far. We did all that for me to take Baylor tonight with the points. I know, and this is kind of contingent on if VJ's playing. I haven't seen anything about him. I know that he got taken out of the game last game, and then the team rallied and had their best second half of the season. It could blow up in my face. They could very well go to Texas Tech and get smoked. They could very well go to Lubbock and get smoked. But I think tonight is going to be the Rob Wright coming out party. We're going to really see this kid's the best young point guard in America. I've been telling you guys about him since he was a junior in high school. My buddy, shout out to Mar Mason over at Czech Rock. That's the development camp he comes from. They're putting some girls at D1 too. So shout out to them. But I think Rob Wright, man, he's going to really show people tonight, listen, I can control the pace of a game and I can keep my team in it. This is when your stock gets raised for the NBA draft. You want to prove people you're an NBA player? Cool. Go into Lubbock, keep the game close, especially if the best player on the team is not available. So give me Baylor with the 8. I believe in their coach. I believe in their point guard. I'm rolling the dice on them tonight. Give me the points.
I'm not going to probably play that game just because I agree with the narratives that you said, but
I know,
but
Mo. That because of that right there. I know.
But my problem is literally it's exactly what Mo said, is that I learned my lesson trying to fade Rick Barnes. I learned my lesson earlier this year trying to fade Bill Self. And I learned my lesson earlier this year when I gave it out as a free play trying to fade TTU at home. So I can't do it, but I totally understand the look. I personally will probably have exactly 0 on that particular game, but I hope it cashes. I hope you win. I really do.
So you just basically told me good fucking luck.
No.
Totally cool, man. It's totally cool.
No.
I'm not hurt. I'm not hurt or anything.
If I was gonna tell you that I thought it was a shitty look, I would say that's a shitty look, but it's not. It really isn't. Honestly, if you're gonna bet that game, I do think that Baylor is the right side. I really do.
That was like the nicest way of telling me best of luck, bro. I appreciate it. Thank you, brother.
No,
I appreciate
can't play Texas Tech. I mentally I can't do it. And then
I totally get it. I get it.
And then when it wins, you can text me all the shit talking you want, and you can be like, "I told you, motherfucker! I told you." And I'll be like this. Honestly,
Eddie, you feel me?
I can't get over it, man. I just can't.
What it felt like. It's exactly what it felt like. This guy's like, you want to bet on them? Okay.
Come on,
all
Eddie.
Right, buddy.
Come on.
Go
more
for
straightforward than that.
It's all good, though. But that's why we're here. It's not like we were on opposite sides, like cussing each other out. But, listen, we started off the week right. We got 5 plays for the people today. Make sure you guys let us know if you're tailing. Make sure you guys like the video and check out our YouTube shorts. We're going to have a bunch of YouTube shorts coming for some Super Bowl stuff, for some college basketball stuff. We're going to get into baseball very early. We're just about 50 days away from opening day, guys. I know you guys give a fuck. I know you do. So make sure you guys pull up, check out the shorts. Make sure you like this video in particular. That's the thumbs up, not the heart. I'm trying to think if I covered everything. Full episode of the New Daily Bread with me and Prop is dropping today at 11 a.m. Just make sure you guys check it out on the channel. We're gonna have a bunch of shorts from there. And again, me and Spin got a bunch of stuff coming. Got a hockey show coming up here starting next week. A lot of stuff coming to Daily Bread Network within the next couple of weeks to cover every single sport. Paid for Play will be back for some college basketball. That's not just a football show. So Roddy's going to be locked in with us. But yeah, other than that, let's continue to rock out and enjoy the week. Shout out to all the people that pulled up, that were in the comments, that had some insight. Eddie, also, before I get up out of here, I told you Cade was one of them. I told you he was one of them. I told you to keep the faith. I hope you kept the faith. I told you he was the one. I told you. This is one of those, I love those moments when you can be like, I told you so.
See?
I told you so. You might have lost the faith, but he's really one of them, bro. He's one of them. So
and once Baylor does that tonight, you can do it to me too. And I'll be like, I accept my fate.
That's the plan. That's the plan, man. Obviously, with the Baylor play, before I get out of here, I got to leave a disclaimer. If VJ is indeed definitely ruled out, I'm still taking Baylor with the points. I don't give a fuck. So that's the deal. Again, appreciate everybody tuning in. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and show some love. Let's make some money. Peace.